Identity politics absolutely ripped this country apart. We were on the right track. Things were going great. We were all coming together. We were all putting our differences to the side. We weren't obsessed with things that happened in the past. We were focused on the present, making the present a good time to be alive. We were focused on the future. And the future used to look so damn bright. Back in the 90s, the early 2000s, things were they were so good compared to how they are now. And I'm not just talking about like the economy and crime statistics and stuff like that. I just mean in general. We were closer together as a country. We were closer together with our neighbors. There wasn't as big of a divide politically. There was not as big of a divide racially. And things were just starting to go a little too good. And then, of course, identity politics was introduced. Identity politics was not just introduced, it was forced on our population. Through our TV shows, through the music, through the books. It was being forced on kids in school, taught in the colleges. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how old you are, but if you're someone in my age range, if you're someone in your 30s, yeah, we didn't notice it when we were in school. But little tiny seeds of identity politics were even starting to be planted in the late 90s, early 2000s. Now, we didn't notice it because the seeds were just being planted. They had not grown roots. They had not sprouted yet. But when you look around at some of your peers and you wonder, how in the hell did you end up like this? We grew up together. How did you become so different? Like, why are you so woke? Why are you one of these idiots? It's because those seeds were planted long ago. Now, you maybe didn't fall for the psyop. Maybe those seeds did not, they weren't allowed to grow in you, but they were growing in people in our age range all around us. Because the seeds were already secretly being planted. But it was nowhere near to the extreme of what we see now. There's no longer seeds being planted. No, they're smacking you in the face with the whole entire flower. Freaking corn cobs right at your face. Big sunflowers right in your face. They don't have to plant seeds anymore. Planting seeds is over with. They're all out in your face with their identity politics. They're all out in your face with their agendas. And they feel as if they've become so powerful that nothing can be done about it. But I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of people are black-pilled. A lot of people think that there's no hope, but there's hope. And things are starting to change. And speaking of identity politics, Bill Clinton, of all people, was recently speaking about identity politics. And you won't believe what he had to say. Let's go ahead and listen.
I mean, anytime you spend all your time trying to settle past grievances or trying to focus on our differences instead of figuring out how to make common cause for a shared future we all want, I think you're in trouble. And I think we have been through a period when, for any number of reasons, the political rewards of grievance-based politics and essentially name-calling and being negative have been so immense that nobody could give them up. knowing all along, including members of the mainstream media, not just the right-wing media, knowing all along that if you didn't give them up, it put our system and our country and our kid and our grandchildren's future in peril. And I basically think that's what this whole shebang has come down to now. Oh, it's not tribalism. We are all tribal. We can't build identities except with reference to other people with different identities. And like, you know, we're in the basketball playoffs now. If you're for one of these teams, you can't be for another. It's a zero-sum game. But there is what I would call inclusive tribalism and divisive tribalism, and the big political benefits have come from divisive tribalism. But it is a potential endless disaster because our capacity, if we cooperate, to solve every challenge we face, including all the things you've done so much wonderful work on over the years, is unlimited. But we can't do it unless we work together and acknowledge that requires us to work. Say, look, you know, we have all these differences, but what we have in common is so much more important. What do you say we work on it? That, I think, is the key question facing not just the United States, but so many countries in the world.
Now, I never, ever thought I would say this, but Bill Clinton was spot on with most of what he said. But I'm not falling for this little charade. I'm not falling for their little games because we know these are some of the same people who push identity politics. Now, things weren't as bad when Bill Clinton was president. We all feel a certain way about Bill Clinton. Now, you can't even really talk about some of the things involving Bill Clinton. Listen, I value my life. I don't want to end up missing, okay? But, you know, living as a kid in the 90s and Bill Clinton was president, let's be honest, things weren't that bad. Definitely not compared to how they are now. But, you know, seeing politicians now starting to speak out and say things like what Bill Clinton is saying here, even though I agree with a lot of what he's saying, it makes me roll my eyes because these are the same people that were pushing that nonsense. But the nonsense has backfired on them. They pushed a little too far, okay? I believe that the American public was very accepting and very lenient of a lot of the crazy nonsense that they've been pushing over the past few years. But they went too extreme. You know, when you have to worry about your daughters in public bathrooms because there's creepy dudes in there shaving who are pretending to be women. When you got men popping up at girls, you know, sports competitions, just winning trophies and stuff. I mean, things got so ridiculous that they pushed things just a little too far. And now they're getting pushback. So what you're going to see, and I want you all to be well aware of this, and I want you to point it out, and I want you to understand what's happening. The same people who brought all of this craziness into the world, now they're going to do a 180 and act as if they had nothing to do with that, and they're going to act as if they're against it as well. Because that's what we're seeing here. And I've noticed it in a few things. I want to talk about the Tom Brady roast, maybe in a future video. I don't want to talk about necessarily the jokes specifically, but I want to talk about the type of jokes they told in that roast, because it's becoming apparent now that all of the political correctness, all of the wokeness that we've seen, there's been so much pushback against it that now it seems like Hollywood and some of these politicians, they're trying to course correct as if they aren't the ones that brought about and pushed this ideology to begin with. So I just want everyone to remember, no matter if you agree with what Bill Clinton says here or not, don't allow these people to get away with this. Don't allow them to trick you. Don't allow them to prey upon the fact that you got short-term memory. You know what I mean? That you got so much stuff going on in your life, you don't know who said what or what position someone's taken. But just be very, very aware of the fact that the tide is turning, the pendulum is swinging back. A lot of the craziness that we've seen, a lot of it's going to start going away, and the people who brought the craziness are going to pretend as if they had nothing to do with it. And I cannot stand that at all. Also, understand that we are headed into an election. So you're going to see a lot of course correcting. You're going to see a lot of people changing their tune. A lot of the extreme stuff these people have pushed, a lot of these extreme people, they're going to become moderate. And they're going to start trying to appeal to, let's just say, more of a sane audience. Even though they've fed into the chaos, they have fed into the insanity for years. Now they're going to try to appeal to more normal people because they want those votes. But make no mistake about it, as I said, you're going to start seeing a lot of this, and I've already seen a lot of it. I've seen a tremendous amount of things like this over the past couple of weeks that it's crazy. It's honestly crazy. People who used to would be afraid to say anything because they're afraid of getting canceled are now telling edgy jokes. Now you got people like Bill Clinton, speaking out against identity politics. What next? Is Barack Obama going to speak out about identity politics next? It wouldn't be a big surprise at this point because it's all part of the game. But let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. If you want to donate, you can donate via CashApp or Super Thanks. Or for free, you could help the channel by liking and sharing the video. But with that being said, I want you to always remember to remain opinionated.